Happy New Year, everyone. The New York Knicks have won 8 straight games and could very well win 9 straight with the win over the Utah Jazz tonight in Madison Square Garden. I'm joined by LV live on this New Year's Day. LV, what's going on? Welcome to the show. How about the Knicks?
Oh, I appreciate you having me on again, man. Thanks. Yeah, they've been rolling, man. 8 in a row feels really good. But as we're going to talk about later, now the schedule gets a lot harder. So we're going to see exactly, is this true of who we are, or are we a fluke, right? So we'll find out really, really fast this month.
We will. Look, Knicks have the Utah Jazz tonight. Revenge game on New Year's Day. As we all know, we remember what happened in Utah. Bad loss, but hey, we turned the page ever since then. And look, this Knicks team is rolling. Right now, they are 23-10 on the season. They've won 8 straight games. They've won, 8 straight on the road, I believe, LV, as well. So the Road Warriors are back. The Knicks seem to have found their rhythm, and it's not just led by one man, which is the beauty of this Knicks team. Been talking about it all season long. You have contributions from everyone in the starting five. Josh Hart with a triple-double last game against the Washington Wizards. LV, where do we begin? Like, how have the Knicks gotten to this point? And we can just start from there and just, talk it through. But, hey, what has impressed you the most over this 8-game stretch, and who has impressed you the most?
Yeah, man, I think it's been a total team effort, right? Everything was falling down, right? We looked at a scorched earth when we saw that the Knicks were 10-8, right? All the expectations that came
Yeah.
with this team and the addition of Bridges and then addition of Towns, we found out right before training camp started, right? So everyone automatically thought championship automatically, right? So starting off 10-8, of course, Mikal Bridges didn't look good in that Charlotte game, right? So everything felt like it was over. The season was done.
Yeah.
Since that time, the Knicks have gone 13-2 since that time. That 10-8 span, we've gone 13-2. And we've been able to flex our muscle in the rest of the league to pretty much show, like, listen, this wasn't a fluke. It takes time. And now guys are starting to find their rhythm. Guys are starting to find where they pretty much, where they fit in with this offense, with this team. And listen, this is what happens sometimes with certain teams, right? It takes a while to get adjusted. Everybody wanted everything to start it off right at the beginning, but it took time. I think a big part of this part, Ant, was when they pretty much didn't make the NBA Cup, which I thought was a blessing because they had a couple of days off. During that time, Ant, they were able to practice for 3 or 4 straight days, right, to get that camaraderie. Because if you guys know, during the season, during these off days, they don't practice. They don't practice at all. You listen to the beat writers, Stephen Bondi and all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about how they don't practice. So where do you have time to really build that camaraderie? You don't. So those 3 or 4 days, they were able to get in the gym, practice. Maybe Tibbs was able to figure out some lineups. If you notice at times, he has Precious out there with Towns, right? So you have a big lineup there. Sometimes you have him out there, OG Anunoby, Precious, and Towns. So all those things have to be worked out in practice. And something happened there to where you saw a change to where we were able to pretty much get an understanding of who we were as a team. And now we're pretty much full go, man. 8 in a row and everybody's looking good.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that, when we lost the NBA Cup, the Knicks had, I think they had 6 days off in with a game in between that. I think that's the extra Orlando game. Seems like we played Orlando 3 times this year. We played Washington 3 times this year. We played the Raptors 2 times this year. So everyone wants to talk about the schedule. Schedule has a huge part of that. And to me, that's what dominant teams do, right? They take advantage of their schedule. They beat these teams that they're supposed to beat. But yeah, man, it's honestly, this Knicks team is just so fun to root for, and this Knicks team is just so fun to watch. I mean, this is the most complete team that I can remember in a while. And, that's not just me being an optimistic Knicks fan. Look, the starting five is legit. Like, literally, Brunson can do his thing, 55 a couple of days ago. Cat, I mean, we'll talk about him in a second. He should be considered top 5 MVP. Because he has, the thing about Cat, LV, is he has the quietest points like ever. Like 32, what do you have? 32 and 14 last game. And you blink and he's already a double-double. The thing I love is that he's already surpassed his Last year he had 5 30-point games, and this year he
5.
already
Yep.
he already has 11 for Karl Anthony
Mhm.
Towns. So he's been awesome. And then it's Josh Hart with the triple doubles, and Anunoby's been in a slump, but last game was a good, hopefully, he can build off of last game. And Mikal, it honestly, it goes back to Mikal pretty much being that dominant wing defender that we've been waiting for. And Anunoby's been, Wingstop. That's all they like to talk about. Wingstop is open in business now, and Mikal Bridges has simply changed. He's been a huge part of this team's run. He has, and I know last game he didn't really score that much, but we don't really need him to do that on a game by game basis. It's the assist numbers that I like. It's the defense that has improved. So, look, man, this team, obviously we'll talk about the bench and the warts and how they can improve, but this team is honestly just rolling right now. They are. And for them to start, like you said, I mean, they were 5-6 in their first 11, and for them to be 23-10, 12-2 in the month of December, that's amazing. That's amazing. So,
Right. Once again, it's all about building camaraderie, right?
yeah,
So you have a guy like Mikal Bridges, right, who came in kind of trying to figure things out. And it happens in this league, man. This league is not easy. It's not. I don't care what the
no,
records are. These guys are still NBA guys. You still got to adjust to a location. So it took him time. Okay, cool.
yeah,
But he's exploded these last 10 games, right? He's been exceptional. Shooting, he's pretty much scoring 21 points a game. You look at what he's shooting. He's shooting over 50% from the field, over 44% from three. So altogether, his defensive rating is up. On a season, he's at 116. Last 10 games, he's at 113. So he's really locking it down on that other end of the court also, too. So, you talked about also, too, the team camaraderie and how we're building as a team. You don't know who you're going to get, right? That Monday, let's not forget, right before Christmas, OG Anunoby scored 31 points. Then Mikal Bridges scores 41 right on Christmas Day. Then after that, then you have down in Orlando, you have Jalen Brunson had 26, Josh Hart had 23. Right? Then the next day, that game 4 of last week, Jalen Brunson drops that double nickel, right? So now you don't know who to get. Once again, during this time, I did not mention Karl Anthony Towns, who exploded the other night for 32 and 13, right? So now, once again, it's pick your poison. So that's the beauty of this team, I'm going to say, because now you don't know who you're going to get it from. And to me, I love the regular season. It preps you and builds you up. But really, I'm thinking about the playoffs because these are how you're going to win playoff games. Because some nights, Cat's not going to have it. They're going to really, really lock into him defensively. Brunson's not going to have it. So who's going to step up? Mikal Bridges is slowly starting to become that third option. And what he does offensively with that mid-range game, that's what's going to win playoff games. Him hitting shots like that, we saw it against San Antonio. That's what's going to win games because when you're so worried about him, you totally forget about Brunson. You totally forget about Towns. And then you have it's the Tasmanian, I'm not even going to say the word, but monster, we'll say that. And Josh Hart running around with his hair on fire. You forget about him also. He can knock down a three. He gets no respect out there. People think he's going to miss it, but then he knocks it down. He knocked down 3 in a row the other night, right? So now it's picking your poison. So now that's the beauty of this team. So we're starting to build some healthy habits as a team to where when the playoffs come, we're going to be ready to go. And to me, that's what I'm thinking about more than anything.
I love that. Healthy habits the Knicks are starting to build. Look, you talk about Josh Hart. He's having a career season, 39% from 3 this year. He's shooting 44% from above the break threes, 34-78 on the season. Mid-range, he's shooting 53% mid-range at the rim, 76% at the rim. He's always been an elite finisher at the rim for his size, and then we all know what he can bring in terms of rebounding. He rebounds like a 7-foot big man out there. And he's efficient. Efficiency field goal percentage at 64.9%. Josh Hart, look, going back to that trade, LV, I mean, Cam Reddish and I forgot who the first-round pick turned out to be, but
yeah,
it's a win-win. I mean, not win-win. The Knicks won that trade. Excuse me. So, and Leon Rose has cooked up these trades, and they're bearing fruit right now. And going back to Mikal, yeah, I remember looking at his 3-point stats, and they were bad, but now he's up to 38%, and he's shooting nearly 50% from corner 3, and he's shooting 53% from mid-range. So guys are stepping up, man. Any given night, pick your poison. And look, schedule, LV. What do you have to say about the people saying that this Knicks team has pretty much had the easiest schedule in the NBA and they haven't played anyone good and this and that, and you want to see them? We have a big marquee matchup on Friday against OKC, and
Right,
I want to see them play the Thunder badly because they're the number one defense in the NBA. So what do you have to say regarding the schedule?
Well, I
Schedule
think
talk.
I think it's only right that we started off. Excuse me, we had the schedule for December, right? It's all prepping, right? And I think that you needed this schedule to kind of figure out what you have,
Yeah.
and like I said, to build those healthy habits, right? So now what the league said is, okay, you built those habits. Now you got the number one toughest schedule going forward in the NBA. And if you look at this schedule going forward, man, this gauntlet is going to be insane. And
Mm-hmm.
so now you're going to see, right? Is this a true thing that we're seeing with this team, or are they a fluke? You're going to find out really fast in January, fast. And so to me, I love this because now you've built up this love for each other as a team, the camaraderie I keep on stressing because that's big, the
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, which is huge. So now we want to see it against the top teams, right? Starts off to me this Friday against OKC at OKC. We saw what SGA did the other night. He had 40 the other night. So this is like his fourth time scoring 40 this year. So he's
Yeah.
lighting the league up, right? So he's probably top 3 MVP, right? So now you have that. Of course, Hart, right, bringing those guys back together. I still think
Trader.
Chet is going to be out. But once again, they're ferocious defensively on the wing with Jalen Williams and, of course, Lou Dort, right? They got a squad, man. Of course, we forgot about Caruso coming off the bench. So they're going to be ready to go, right?
That's
So
a test. That's what we a battle.
that's a test, man. And listen, this is what you want. You want to see, listen, is this real or is this fake? And you got to see it's the upper echelon of this league because believe it or not, they got the Celtics, who are favorites, and these guys you're going to see Friday is probably number 2, right? And they probably made, outside of the Knicks, the biggest free agent transaction this year with getting Hart and getting Caruso. No one saw that coming. They saw Hart, but not Caruso.
Mm-hmm.
So you pair that with Chet and the whole crew, they're going to be tough. But you got to love it because this is what you want. You want to see, are we in that category? Are we there? So then after that, you got a whole bunch of other tough teams. You got Chicago's playing good, right? We got Orlando. We've played like 20 times this year, right? So you see that, right? So we got Toronto, right? Then we got OKC again, and that's the stretch.
Again.
OKC,
Again.
Milwaukee, Detroit is playing really, 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 really well.
Oh yeah.
K is a sneaky all-star this year. He's playing out of his mind. So that's not an easy out. Then you got Philly. That's always going to be a tough one. Then Minnesota, we know with the whole DiVincenzo thing and Randall. And then Atlanta, they smoked us twice this year. So listen, that gauntlet right there is going to test everything. And as a Knicks fan, this is what you love, man. Primetime games. Do you want to see? Are we ready for a playoff push? And that's what I'm excited about.
Bring it on. Honestly, look, it should be 9 in a row tonight, right? Utah, take care of business. Don't play with your food. And this next team hasn't played with their food. So they should go to 24-10 on the season and 14 games over 500. And then you go to OKC, and yeah, LV, that's gonna be a litmus test, right? That's the best team in the West and best defensive team in the NBA. That should be a great one. But the thing I love about this, LV, is these games are at home. Orlando again at home, OKC at home, Milwaukee home, Detroit home. And I know Detroit came in to MSG and beat you. But, Milwaukee's going to want to retaliate. But look, bring it on. Minnesota, the emotional game with Randall, Devo, and Atlanta again. Revenge. You remember Trae Young rolling the dice on your logo, man. How are you going to respond to that? You circle that game, and then we just go from there. And then, yeah, the month of January, look, this stretch in Madison Square Garden should be a fun one, and it should be a test. And I think they're real, Evie. I do. You said, are they real or are they fake? I think they're real. I truly do. And they've just been benefiting off of a fairly light schedule. But hey, OKC has had a pretty easy schedule, and no one's really talking about their schedule. It's always the Knicks. Like, oh, look at the Knicks schedule. They played nobody. I looked at OKC schedule, and I'm like, why is nobody talking about them? I get it. It's New York. It is what it is.
Right.
But,
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's just how it's always been being from New York, man, and being a New York Knicks fan. So, but listen, man, as we go, the NBA goes. The NBA is always great when the Knicks are a legit team.
Yeah.
So This is a beautiful thing, man. I love it, man. Bring it on.
I get it. So look, in this stretch, Knicks, they're not turning the ball over. They're tied with Cleveland at number 3. We'll talk about Cleveland in a bit too. Knicks are only at 13.2 turnovers per game. And they haven't been shooting the ball well over these last, 4 to 5 games, LV. They're still number 3 in the NBA in three-point percentage, number 9 in the NBA in assists per game with 27.9. You're seeing them after every win. It seems like they're really dishing the ball, really unselfish team. And the Knicks are only allow 109.8 points per game, which is 8th best in the league. The team they play Friday, OKC, is number 1 at 103.2 points per game allowed. So LV, they're not turning the ball over. They are shooting the ball fairly well, but in these last few games, they've shot the ball poorly, and that's honestly, to me, it's been a positive to me because they're shooting poorly, but they're still finding different ways to win. It's not like they rely on the 3-ball. They're not heavily relying on the 3-ball. Like in the beginning of the season when they had these big blowout wins, the win in Denver, Phoenix, they were just shooting the lights out, and you wanted to see them win in different ways. They're starting to be a better offensive rebounding team. Still, I think number 19 or 20 in the NBA, but they're winning in different ways, and that's what you love. And look, I mean, honestly, there really isn't any negatives but the bench. And, Deuce, I thought in the last Wizards game, second half, he played extremely well. I thought Deuce McBride was going to have a, sixth man of the year type player, type of year. And he just, hasn't really been that consistent. So when you see people call out the warts in this team, when you see people saying, look, the Knicks are great, starters are playing a lot of minutes, their starting 5 is head above heels above anyone else in terms of minutes. Mikal still leads the NBA in minutes per game, and the starters have played the most minutes in the NBA together in the NBA by I think 300 or 400 minutes. So when you see outsiders kind of point at the negatives to the Knicks, it's fair, right? It's fair,
Hey,
right?
listen, man, I think it's really fair because they know the coach,
Yeah.
right? They know he's going to play these guys to the wheels fall off. It's a good thing in a sense, right? There's two sides to that coin. The positive of that coin is that, in order to be really good, or to get in basketball shape, shall I say, you got to play. That's the only way. You can't think that you could just go into this and say, okay, we're going to be ready for playoff basketball, and you haven't put the mileage on those tires to be able to handle what's going to come with the playoffs. The other side of that coin is that you risk injury, knock on wood, right? So that's the issue because now they see, because once again, man, there are going to be nights where certain guys don't have it. So can you have moments to where guys on your bench can come in and contribute? We saw that in the Atlanta game, right? They had DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovic come off the bench. Those guys are starters, and they lit the Knicks up, right? Mm-hmm. So once again, are you going to be able to pull from that and be able to contribute? Now, Deuce has had a rough couple of games. I mean, it happens in this league, man. It happens in this league. So getting a guy back like Shamet to me is important, right? But to me, he's going to need minutes. And I think anywhere should be between 15 and 20 minutes Tips should give him, right? It shouldn't be like 10 or 12. That should not happen, right? So to me, he should also play campaign. I don't know what's going on with the campaign piece. He hasn't been playing him as of late. But once again, this is all just to kind of spell guys to give him minutes, right? So you got to get production out of those guys. But if they don't play because, you feel more comfortable with the first unit, that's not going to help us down the road. So to me, that's been kind of like an issue. And I think that's why some teams or people or whomever are unsure of the Knicks because of that bench output, right? So hopefully getting Mitch back, even though he's not a point guy, he is an offensive rebound guy. He is a defensive guy. So hopefully that will be able to help us in some aspects. But you're going to need an offensive punch coming off that bench to kind of be able to, I guess, make Tibbs feel comfortable with giving these guys the minutes that they're going to need. Because if not, man, it's going to take its toll. It eventually is. You know what I mean? The season's too long. And so that's like the biggest worry for me.
You brought up campaign. He's kind of like flamed out a little bit here. Tibbs isn't playing him much, and he hasn't produced in those minutes. And Deuce, I thought he's been underwhelming for the most part, but I thought the second half of the last game, I thought, I think he had 6 assists. I really thought that was, a good game from Deuce, but Yeah, I think Shamet needs to play at least, like you said, give him 15 to 20 minutes because what we've seen from Tom Thibodeau is his first half subs are different than his second half subs. He trusts his subs in the first half. Second half, he rolls with his starters more and more. And look, your starters are elite. And, you can kind of mix and match. You saw him try to put Josh Hart in with the bench. He's doing Precious, Cat, Hart. I think you saw Shamet and Deuce in there. And Hart was the guy who was hit those back-to-back threes during the last game. But, yeah, I get it, man. I truly do get it because in order to be the best of the best, you have to be deep. But I don't know. Like, there's a part of me who thinks, like, if you have a starting five that's so elite, you can kind of stagger them with the bench. And even though your bench is dead last in scoring right now, you have Mikal who's playing damn near every minute of the basketball game. And I don't know. There's a part of me who wants to have a better bench OV, but there's a part of me who understands having an elite starting five and being able to stagger them a lot. So it's like at the one end I get it, on the other hand I understand, Tom Thibodeau rolling with his starters because they're so damn elite. But
right, it's two, like I said, it's two sides to that coin, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's weird, and you're valid in what you're saying, and I can lean on Tibbs in that aspect too. My thing is just this: if someone goes down, what do you do, right? And so you don't want to be so top heavy that you don't have any backups. And the beauty of that we saw last year when Mitch went down, what happened? We had iHeart. We kept on going, right? So if we don't have iHeart, do we still have the season that we had last year? And iHeart wasn't what he is now, right? We didn't know what he was going to be. But when Mitch went down in December, we put iHeart in there hoping to see what he was going to be, and he turned out to be better than what he was. But if you don't have that there, and you don't have anybody you could trust when someone goes down, you're kind of stuck. And so that's my only concern. We have the best starting five in the league. That's hands down.
Yeah.
But you're going to need someone to spell some guys sometimes. You're going to do that. And so to me, on certain nights, I don't see an issue with playing Campaign. I don't see an issue with playing Shamet. I don't see giving him a little bit more minutes. I don't see an issue with that. But I think sometimes with Tibbs, it feels like every game is like the finals, right? He's got like PTSD, man. I don't know what his deal is. But it's like every game is the finals. That's my only thing. I get it, right? Because when you look down the bench, you say, wow, I got OG Anunoby in there. I got, Mikal Bridges over there.
Yeah.
So, his eyes get wide. He say, man, what does it matter if I give him 47 minutes? Oh, it matters a lot, Tibbs. It's a long season. Like, you got to, And so I think give him grace, too, because I think he's still trying to figure it out also, right? It's not like he's had this team for 2 years. He just got this team with all these weapons, right? So this is, like I said before, and I said on your show, I think this is the best team he's ever had. Outside of that, maybe that Derrick Rose team, you can kind of go back and forth, but this is the best team he's ever had. So I think he's probably still trying to figure it out also. And so, once again, but like I said, we're going to see this month. We're going to see. But, time will tell.
Will and with a super chat. Appreciate you, Will. And in the chat, kind of reset the room a little bit. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this New Year's Day. Knicks started off 2024 with a bang. They ended 2024 with another bang. Hopefully they can, do the same in 2025. Hopefully we can bring an NBA championship. Will N says, Tibbs' biggest weakness is not having confidence in his rookies. Huck and Kolek were killing it during summer league and preseason. Huck can be a decent backup center, and Kolek is a second coming of Stockton. Ooh. Tyler Kolek is a second coming of John Stockton. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And look, I love the enthusiasm, LV, but I think, like I said it in our last podcast, if a trade was to come about, I think the Knicks aren't going to be afraid to, possibly deal out a Deuce or deal out a Mitch. But Mitch's value right now is not, he doesn't really have value. I mean, he's not on the court. But in terms of playing Huck Porty and Kolek, they were killing it, LV. But that's the beauty of having these guys, waiting in the wings on your bench, because these guys are, going back and forth between the G League team And, they're playing extremely well down there. I think Kolek won the G League Showcase MVP, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he did. He did.
So, hey now, Kolek is waiting in the wings. But the number one thing with Tom Thibodeau, LV, is trust. And if he doesn't trust you, he's not going to play you. And in a pivotal year, I don't think he can. You really think Thibs is going to play around like that, play around and not deviate from his substitution patterns and go to the rookies? And
Nah, man. No, man. No. Tibbs is not going to do that, man. Like, I know we all want to fantasize. Tibbs is telling you who he is, man. Tibbs is telling you who he is. And I love Kolek. I think he's really good ball player. Actually, when I went to the Knicks game, fun fact, LV fun fact, I sat right next to his parents and his family.
Ooh, okay.
Was talking to them during the game. So very nice people. He's not ready, man. And the reason why he's not ready is he can't defend, man. He can't defend. You got to be able to defend in this league. And that's the key, man. If you're like, it's like a cone drill, you know what I mean? Where you're just standing still and dudes are running right past you. That's the quickest hook to get you put back on the bench. You got to be able to defend. And that's the big adjustment from college to the league. You know what I mean? Even when I played in high school, when I went to college to play ball, that's the biggest thing, man. Everybody is good. Everybody. And you got to be able to defend. You can't take any breaks. And he's having a problem with that. Now with the Akaporte piece, he's got a couple of people ahead of him. He's got Sims ahead of him. He's got Precious ahead of him. And, of course, Big Cat. Mitch is right around the corner. So that's where it's going to be hard for him. You want to talk about guys like Dottier. Those guys aren't ready yet, man. They're not ready just yet. I saw a game. It was actually when they played Minnesota, Ant, right? And Dottier got in. It was just at the end of the game. They were smoking Minnesota. And he didn't play well. Like, he just wasn't doing well at all. Tibbs yanked him out and put Matt Ryan in. And that was a bad look because, like Deuce said to Akaporte that time, those minutes matter, man. Mm-hmm. When you're at the end of the game, you get like 2 minutes left in the game. Don't play around with those minutes. Tibbs is watching you to see what you do and the choices you make and how you're approaching the game. So those things matter, man. So, give it time with these guys. They're still young. Give them time. It's not like we don't have people that can play. Campaign to me, I think is more NBA ready. Of course, he's, been in the league a couple of years than Kolek, right? I think Shamet is better than Dottier. I think Precious is better than Akaporte, right? So those three guys right there. Tibbs goes 9 deep. Mm-hmm. So where are you going to find minutes? To your point, Ant, you still got to stagger the starters, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So where are you really going to find minutes for those guys? And they're not better than the guys in front of them. That's just the truth. So, as much as I want to get on Tibbs about stuff like that, I got to be honest with you. If I'm in Tibbs' shoes, I'm not playing those guys right now. I'm just not.
And it's good problems to have, right? I mean, at the end of the day, Tyler Kolek was a hidden gem found by the Knicks. Ariel Hukporti, I think he has a bright future in this league. He already has shown you in these few games that he has played, he's a presence down there. Good hands around the rim, rebounding needs to be a little bit improved, but he's still a rookie. Last pick in the second round. These are good problems to have, and honestly, this gives the Knicks, leeway to kind of, if a deal were to come up, you have Kolek in there to step up, and you have Hukporti in there if anything was to happen. There's been rumors about Sims being involved in trades. Mitch has been in rumors. So obviously the trading deadline is next month, beginning of February. I think it's February 8th. But,
February.
If you're Leon Rose, do you look at this and say, look, we're rolling right now despite, our lack of bench depth. And we're just waiting for the return of Mitchell Robinson. And maybe that's the piece that takes us to the next level. But like we said, Mitch really needs to come back and show the Knicks and honestly show the NBA that he can still dominate. And I truly do think he is. But, a main concern also, LV, that has been following around Karl-Anthony Towns in his career has been his foul trouble. And I think 4 straight games he's been, I think the last game versus the Wizards, he got into foul trouble early, but he cleaned it up. But the way the NBA calls these fouls against Karl-Anthony Towns, I don't like it. I really don't. But you know, just talk about what do you see, man? I don't know. It's frustrating because one, these fouls aren't hard fouls, right? They're like ticky tack
Right,
fouls,
right, right.
and it's like
Absolutely,
frustrating. I get it if it's a
absolutely,
hard foul, then okay. But
absolutely.
it's like ticky tack stuff. What do you see?
Yeah, the ill thing with Cat is that this has always been a problem for him,
Yeah,
right? He had an issue with that in Minnesota as well, right? So it's
yeah,
just discipline with him, man. It's like simple stuff. Like he's got to be disciplined enough to where he's able to say, okay, let me not jump in, let me not hack anybody, let me not do these things, let me be disciplined in this moment. Let me not reach. Because sometimes, like some of the fouls, I'm like, come on, Cat, man, keep your feet down. Like, pay attention. Now, if you know the jury is out, okay? Every team knows that you have lack of discipline when it comes to the defensive end. They know
mm-hmm.
that. So they're going to be baiting you to get in foul trouble. Because the thing is that when he's off the court, this is Big Wiz. What's going on, man? When he's off the court, and this is a totally different lineup, man. This is when he's in there, he changes everything for us. That's why we got this 5-out offense. That's why the offense is number 2 in the league, right? Because of him. Everybody's whole skill set and game has gone to another level. Josh Hart is looking like an all-star. OG Anunoby's looking like an all-star. And Brunson is looking like first team or second team All-NBA again, right? That's all because of Cat. So when he's out the game, man, it changes everything. Then it gets back into Brunson trying to play hero ball. So Cat's got to identify that, right? So that comes down to him and just him being a lot more disciplined. Agreed. I totally agree with you. Like it's a joke. Like it's pity pat fouls. It's but they're scheming for that, man. They know what you're gonna do. So you have to tighten up and say, all right, let me be smart out here and make the right decisions. That's not saying don't be aggressive. Still be aggressive, but be smart with your decision making.
Agree, and I love that you said that they're scheming for it. You see teams right away. They're attacking Cat, pick and rolls. Him and Mikal Bridges have been, involved in a lot of pick and rolls this year, and opponent teams are scheming for it because they know once he gets into foul trouble, he doesn't really like to be aggressive because in terms of defending the opposing player because he doesn't want to pick up his third or fourth foul. And shout out to Precious though. That's another kind of wrinkle in the whole bench talk is when Cat's in foul trouble, it kind of changes, I guess, things mid game and during the game. So. That's something he just has to work through. But at the end of the day, it's been, his bugaboo throughout his career. I remember in the playoffs last year, he got into foul trouble a few games, pivotal games too. I mean, that's going to be a talking point this year. But obviously, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But it's something that he's currently working with the Knicks, assistant coaches, trying to improve on that end. But hopefully he does. I mean, his play right now on the court is just incredible. 103 people in the chat. Appreciate every single one of you. Smash the subscribe button. LV also has the YouTube channel. It's in the description. We are just chopping it up on this New Year's Day. Happy New Year's to everyone. New York Knicks are winners of 8 straight games. Kind of reset the room a little bit. We opened up. How did the Knicks get to this point? And it's been their starters. Their starters have been dominant. Mikal Bridges, as of late, has been dominant, nearly 50% from corner 3. Josh Hart with the triple-double. I think 9 triple-doubles as a Knick, I think, for Josh Hart, LV. That's I think number 1. I think he's I forgot who number 1 is. I got the graphic here, but
I want to say, isn't it Clyde? I think it's Clyde.
Yeah, I think it's Clyde. I think so. But man, I got the graphic here. Yeah, it's Clyde.
Yeah. Listen, a lot of people are going to probably say what really changed the Knicks. Is it Brunson with that decision? To me, it's Josh Hart. What Josh Hart brought is he brought an intensity and he brought an attitude to this team. And so when you bring winning culture around people, it's like it's infectious. And so it's kind of spilled over into everybody. So you align him with Brunson, they got the same mindset, the same way of doing things. So then everybody else follows suit. They follow suit. Because I have to be honest. Yes, if we don't have Brunson, that's huge. We understand that. If we don't have Josh Hart, man, look at what that changes for us. The dynamic, what it does for this team. The dynamic, the energy, the attitude, the aggressiveness, all those things that you need that pretty much defines New York City basketball is Josh Hart. Through and through. And so when you take a guy like him out, we lose our edge a bit. We lose our edge, right? And there's been a couple of games this year, and where he's had to kind of get down and dirty, right? And really kind of wake guys up. And his energy with the offensive rebounds, with the tip balls, with the assists.
The shooting this year, it's crazy.
The shooting has been, but that's all Cat, right? Because, people haven't been respecting him, so now he has to knock it down. So all those little intangibles that you cannot put on the stat sheet, he does, to where it makes it so much easier, so much more cushier for Brunson. That addition of bringing him here changed the attitude of this team. Brunson changed the culture. He changed the attitude. You put those two together, man, they're like Super Saiyans. You know what I mean? Like,
yep, the roommate's pod, man.
And so that's just changed everything. Then you brought in Devo and all of that and Bridges. So it's just stacking the chips on top. But the foundation of that, you can't say Brunson without Josh Hart. To me, they go hand in hand, man, with that.
And look at his impact from since we acquired him, LV. Even in the playoffs, go back to the game 1 in Cleveland, big shot in the fourth, propelling the Knicks to win game 1. The 76ers series, big shot to pretty much ice that series and say night-night to the Philadelphia 76ers. And now he has 9 triple-doubles. Walt Frazier with 23, Michael Ray Richardson with 18, Richie Guerin. I feel like Richie Guerin is on every stat. This man must have been a problem. Julius Randle with 8, Mark Jackson with 7. You think he'll break Walt Frazier's if he ends his career as a Knick?
Oh, man. How much Clyde got? 29, he said?
23.
23?
23.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot. See, if he was younger, yeah. You got to understand, Josh Hart's, 29? How many more years do you think?
Let's say he plays 6 more years as a Knick. And I think all 9. I think Alan Hahn said this on the MSG broadcast. Don't know if it's true, but he said all 9 of his triple-doubles have been with the Knicks.
Wow. So if you do the math game, right, he's been with us, 2 years now?
Yeah. So
let's say that's 4 a season? 4.5 a season, let's just say. And the season's not even over yet, too. So that's another one, right? Yeah. So he can get a couple more this year. Let's say he gets 3 more this year, let's just say. So what is he at, 12? So he's halfway to Clyde. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I think he can. Shout out to Josh Hart, man. I have another stat here. Yeah, man. Shout out to everyone.
Yeah, listen, he's him, man. He's him. I'm telling you. Listen, like a little, the guys that lighten it up offensively, man, they get all the credit. I get it, but man, he's a difference maker, man.
For sure, man. This is another stat from B-Ball Index on X. The Knicks are the only team that is top 5 in rim, mid-range, and 3-point shot making this season. Man, the only team.
Yeah, man.
There's not a second. There's the only team. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the best offensive Knicks team I've seen in my lifetime.
Listen, ever for me too, man. Listen, I said it earlier, man. This is all the addition of Cat, man. That 5-out changes everything, man. You got to understand what that does. Like, you got a big who's 7 feet that could shoot the 3, could take it to the hole strong. Then you still got to worry about Brunson. Then you still got OG Anunoby, who we constantly forget about. And now Josh Hart is shooting the crap out the ball. Then you still got, Mikal Bridges, the mid-range killer, right? So just think of what that does. You have to pick your poison. That's why I said we got the best starting 5 in the league. But that's all because of Cat. And once you remove Cat from that, you see what this team is now, right? Now teams can really clamp down defensively because they don't have to worry about the big. So now that opens up the lane because the big's got to respect Cat, because if not, he's going to come down and knock down a 3. So that opens up the lane. It just changes everything. It's just a domino effect, man. The addition of him has turned us into a super team. I'm just being honest with you.
Super team. Let's go, LV. I love it.
Super team.
Super chat from Wiz in the chat. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you for supporting. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year to you. He says, we have depth. So the issue is Thibs. Trust issue. We have the depth, he says, LV. The issue is Tom Thibodeau's trust. That's what he says. I love you guys, man. I truly do. What do you got to say to that?
Yeah, man. I mean, we said it earlier, man. I mean, it's all about Tibbs. It's all about Tibbs. We know that. I mean, it comes down to him, man. I mean, he's got the guys.
I love that you said that he coaches every game like it's Game 7 in the NBA Finals.
He does, man. He's got PTSD, man. He just does. Like everything's got to be. He's just always like that. And once again, it's two sides to that coin, because these guys are going to be battle tested and ready when the playoffs come. You know what I mean? That's the key. But the issue is, Kev, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with us, Kev. The issue is that, you got to make sure these guys still got, everything together when it's time for the playoffs. You know what I mean? You don't want those guys rolling in there on wheelchairs, right? Knock on wood. You know what I'm saying? You want everybody ready to go. So that's the other side of that coin, man. You got to kind of pay attention to. But, yeah, man, that's Tibbs, man. Tibbs has got to – because he's got the horses, right? He's got the guys to play. You got Shamet back. Yeah. Right? So why is he only playing like 10, 12 minutes? Give him 20 minutes, Tibbs. I don't see the issue. Right? Just give it to him. Campaign hasn't been playing well a couple of games, but also, too, he's had a quick hook also. Tibbs has only kept him in like 5 minutes, 6 minutes. So you're not really giving him time to even break a sweat. Right? So Precious is playing better. Right? So that's good. He's been helping out as far as that. I thought he played well last game. So you got the guys, man. You know what I'm saying? But he just... he's got PTSD, man. That's the only thing I can say.
Look, when you give Tom Thibodeau 5 great starters, he's gonna utilize them. He's gonna play them. And hey, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, I'm gonna play them too. But
right.
But yeah, you get look. He's Shamet is coming off a bad injury, right? So maybe they're just working him in. But I do, like I've said it on some of my post games, LV. I think they're working him in, and I think, as time goes on, hopefully his minutes will increase, because we saw in the Orlando game impact right away. Threes, defense, fast break pass to Precious that led to that major dunk a couple of games ago. So you love that, and I just love having Shamet back. Shamet was always going to be in this rotation, and in these last few games, I think that pretty much solidified that talk. So
right, and also too, he's low key good defensively, also too, man. Yeah. He's really good defensively. A lot of people, I don't know if you guys are paying attention. If you do, watch tomorrow, man. He's really good on the defensive end also.
Hit some of these comments. Appreciate every single one of you guys in here. Happy New Year's once again. Carl says, what I find fascinating is that Shamet just got back and Mitch is on his way with the production from Cat, Precious, Hart, and OG. He can slowly get adjusted to the new style and team. We can be fire. And Eddie says, we must move on without Mitch, since he is not dependable. Look, LV.
That's tough, man. That's tough, man. I can't say that I have to agree with that. Was that Eddie? Yeah. I can't agree with that, man. Because you got to think, who are you going to get, right? Who are you going to get that's out there, right? From Mitch, right? You got to think who's out there, and if they do, they're going to want to fleece the Knicks. They're going to want everything, because they're going to say, yo, you're giving us a guy that we know is possibly not dependable, gets hurt all the time. Okay, cool. We'll give you Kessler, but we're going to want all your picks. We're going to want Deuce, and we're going to want Precious. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to try to fleece the Knicks. So, once again, you got to say to yourself, all right, let's see how he looks. Because then when you see how he looks, then he might have some value in the summer, right? Mm-hmm. But if he plays better, let's see. But the point is that if he plays good, that's perfect for us, because then that'll be great, because it'll be a good push going towards the playoffs, which is we need a big body. But if he doesn't play good, then you got the summertime. You know what I mean? So then you can make a decision then. But right now, man, we don't really have much money. We're $500,000 from the second apron. So it's a numbers thing too, right? So what are we really going to get from Mitch? We got to get back value, man. That's going to really help with production off the bench. No one's going to be willing to give up anything. That's just what it is, man. With this first and second apron, we're kind of like locked in right now.
And I've said it previously. I think the Knicks can look at this one or two ways. They can look at it like they can look at the trading deadline and help and scour the market like Leon Rose has done. He's not afraid of pulling the trigger. And Leon Rose is pretty much his game plan is get the best player in the deal, and it will work out. But I think the addition of Mitch, I think you have to see what it looks like with Cat, because Cat and Gobert in Minnesota played well together, and Cat and Gobert formed the chemistry, and Cat was finding Gobert on lobs a lot, and we all know Mitchell Robinson, the Knicks missed him a lot on lobs, and maybe Cat can kind of, help unlock that from Mitch. But I think you want to see it first. I don't think you want to trade the unknown, and I don't think the Knicks will. I think they'll wait till Mitch comes back. I think they want him to be 1,000% healthy, 1,000%, and which is why they're waiting here. But the downside is, LV, like I said it last time, is Mitch comes back. What if he gets hurt again? Then what? That's the downside. But obviously, we don't want that to happen. I'm not speaking that into existence, but, we're chopping it up. We're talking through things. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, you got Porter, you got, Sims in there. But, yeah, I'm just excited that he's close. And I'm excited for his return. I truly am.
Right. You're not both, man. I don't know if something in me is telling me I think he's going to play well. I think he is. Yeah. And the reason why I think he's going to play well is because we're not expecting him to play like 30, 40 minutes, right? So if you give him anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes a night, I think that's perfect for him, right? To get him acclimated back into shapes and all those other different things. But I totally agree with you. We got to see what we have, And I think also, too, he's earned that, right? He's earned that with this team and with this coaching staff. They drafted him. They built him up to be what he is right now. Mm-hmm. So let's see what he is, man. And listen, where are you going to get in this league at a cheap price? A 7-1 big who blocks shots, who rebounds, and is a factor in that paint. Where are you going to get that? That's not expensive. So we have it right here. So what to your point, let's see what it is. Yeah. Let's see what it is. If it doesn't work out, cool. But we can't just give up on it and then not really have nothing else to fall back on to end, right? You know what I mean? That's the point that I'm making as well.
Yeah. And I think this Knicks bench needs defense, right? They need more defense. They don't need, of course, a great wing defender and, 3-and-D wing would be nice off the bench. But hey, I think, Mitch will only improve the defense. And whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, I think when he comes back, that's when the Knicks team can really hit their peak, LV. And, they're 23-10 right now with a 9-game winning streak on the horizon tonight versus the Utah Jazz. And yeah, but when that time comes, I'm waiting on it and I'm excited. Appreciate every single one of you guys in here. LV and I just chopping it up. New Year's Day. Once again, Happy New Year. And thank you for spending time with us. A lot of comments to catch up on. You see anything? Indeed. We just have to wait and see how Mitch looks and performs when he returns before we move him. That's from Track.
Agreed.
I don't trust Mitch for a deep playoff run. That's from Khaled. So you're getting both sides of the spectrum, which is
Khaled. I think that's a good point, but to me, that's why you have Cat. Yeah. That's why you have a guy like Precious, right? So once again, we can kind of give and take and kind of monitor his minutes based on those guys. So, for me, we're not expecting Mitch to be the savior, if that makes any sense, right? We're not expecting him to do that. We're just expecting him, to your point, provide defense, rebound, do those things. If we kind of see he doesn't have it tonight, he can sit on the bench. We got Precious, right? We have the mix and match, right? We can kind of stagger lineups. There's certain things we can do in certain aspects of the game. You can have Mitch out there with Cat. You put OG Anunoby at the 3. Then you could put Josh Hart at the 2. Then you could put Brunson at the 1. Look at that defensively, what that is. Beautiful, man. So once again, it gives us different options. And so that's the beauty. And then the most important thing is that we don't need him, man, to play like 40 minutes or 30 minutes. We don't need him to be that Embiid stopper. We don't need that. And that's the beauty of this.
10 to 15 spot minutes, man. That's it, ease him in. Mike, what's going on, Mike? Appreciate you in here. Mitch needs to stay right where he is. You're not going to find another potential defensive player of the year in the league for the budget we need. When Mitch was healthy, he was en route to defensive year player of the year. I'll take my chances. Yeah, I'll take my chances too. I'll take my chances. But Look, I saw a comment earlier saying, "Do you think this Knicks team will beat Boston? What is the upside of this Knicks team?" Got a poll in the YouTube chat. How far can the New York Knicks go in the year 2025? Once again, Happy New Year, man. This is time's flying, man. I can't believe it. I have championship. Let's go. I have second round, and I have Eastern Conference Finals. So far, 73 votes. Championship is winning that with 64% of the votes. Second round with 10%. Eastern Conference Finals with 26%. And I truly do think it depends where the Knicks finish. I want them to finish top 3. I really want them to finish second, OV. But right now, you're seeing in this league, Boston absolutely dismantled the Raptors the other I think yesterday. But
what was the score? I think it was like 125 to like 71 or something like that.
Yeah, they dismantled them.
That's crazy.
But they've been kind of hit or miss. I know they've been dealing with injuries. Some people are saying the NBA season is bored. They're bored. But the Cavs,
I think with the whole this whole NBA thing, right, with the ratings and stuff like that, and has been ill. And I will say that people are valid, man, because what I'm watching, man, I'm seeing it's not good basketball, man. Like it's not. And the problem is that you've had teams like the Warriors, and of course last year with Boston, they've given like this false mindset, like, oh, you need to shoot like 40, 50 threes a game to like win, like the analytics. If you look back at the NBA, the team that averaged the most points in the season was like 126 points. That was like in 1980 or 81. They didn't even shoot the three like that. And so to me, the name of the game has always been to score the most. Like however you can score. But the problem is, you got a whole bunch of guys that should not be shooting threes that are shooting threes. And so that's the thing, you know what I mean? So to me, that's why the ratings are down. I just had to throw that out there because I've been seeing that out there. And that's the problem, man. You got a whole bunch of teams that are trying to follow a style of play that they don't have the guys to do that.
They don't have the personnel. Yeah.
They don't have the personnel, man. So you got to stick to whatever your superpower is. So, perfect example, last year we couldn't do a 5-out. We couldn't do that. We don't have a guy like Cat. So imagine if we ran a 5-out with Mitch. Like think about that. Everyone's shooting threes. But that's what's happening around the league. You see a whole bunch of dudes shooting threes that should not be shooting it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why the ratings are down. The numbers are insane. Like, look, that score the other night. That was just insane what Boston did to Toronto, man. But that's just bad basketball because you got guys just coming down, just chucking up threes. Because I saw another stat line. I just want to throw this out there. Brunson and Cat are averaging like 17 shots a game. Let's just say 17 shots a game. Both of them. LaMelo Ball is averaging 13 threes a game. He's shooting 13 threes a game, my man. That's insane, man. Like, that's insane type of basketball. So you mean to tell me you're shooting, even if it's a bad shot, you're throwing it at the rim? Like, that's like bad basketball, man. And I think that's what's happening. And to your point, Ant, like you just stated, they don't have the personnel for that. And I think that's kind of been like just lost in the league, man. So I just got to go off on a, kind of go long-winded there. But I think that's like what's happening with the league, man.
I love it because Cat is, capped out at what, 15, 20 shots a game, and he's efficient. And wow, LaMelo Ball shooting 13 threes a game.
13 threes a game, man. He's like. I mean, I don't know if that number's going down, but I remember seeing like recently, like it was like 13 threes a game he's shooting, man. A game.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right, so Knicks 1 game back of Boston, the defending champs. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are on a 70-win pace this season. They just don't lose. Every time I see them win, I'm like, damn, we were up, 13 against them boys?
Yeah, man, yeah.
Early on in the season. It is what it is. It happens.
Right.
But, hey, do we have to start respecting Cleveland, LV? Because, this run that they're on, I mean, I know we say that, the Knicks own them, Mitch owns them, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and them boys. But, I don't know. I think we do have to start, giving Cleveland some respect because this run that they're on is incredible. And
I mean, you got to respect all your opponents, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's very important in this league, so what they have, the record that they have is very impressive, right? It is. You got to give them their props on that. But we have to be honest and be real about no one's playing really for this. They're playing for the playoffs, right? That's why they assembled that lineup that they have there. They got a pretty good lineup. But we've seen that lineup before falter in the playoffs when they face against legit competition. Because that's the key with this league, right? When you get in the playoffs, now everybody knows the sets that you're running. They know what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're playing against the elites of the elites. You're not playing against the Washingtons. You're not playing against the teams you go Sacramento's or teams that stink. Now you're playing against the best of the best teams. And now what those teams are designed to do is take you out of your first option, your second option, and your third option. So your fourth option's got to be legit. And what Cleveland has shown is that they've struggled against beating teams 4 games out of 7. That's what you got to do. You got to beat them 4 times. Can you do that against the elite teams, the better teams? Not these teams that stink, legit teams. And that's going to be the key for them. Are they going to be able to do that? I don't think they can, man. I don't think they beat us 4 out of 7. I don't think they beat Boston 4 out of 7. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they have an issue with a team like Orlando 4 out of 7, right? You got to be able to beat a team 4 out of 7 in the playoffs, man. And that's the key. I got to see it to believe it with them. You know what I mean? The regular season is great, but they had a great regular season a year before or the season before that, right? Because I think they were like the number 1 or number 2 seed, not last year, the year before, right? And that's when we smacked them, remember, in the second round, and we weren't supposed to. So once again, and they pretty much have everybody back. A couple of guys missing, but I mean, so to me, that's the key.
AP in the chat says 29-4 is 29-4. Cavs got a great coach. Kenny Atkinson is the coach of the year by far. Yeah, by far. They're different. They're a different group. They're playing well under their coach Kenny Atkinson. Obviously, the Knicks bowled well against them. But this run that they're on right now, 29-4, is incredible. 17-1 at home, 12-3 on the road. So you got the heavy hitters up top: Cleveland, Boston, and the Knicks. I saw a question in the chat. Do you think the Knicks can beat Boston in the 7-game series? Look, I think what this Knicks team just needs to continue to do is win the games they're supposed to win like they've been doing and get the highest seed possible. You want as many home games in the playoffs as possible. And obviously you want to be healthy in the playoffs as well. But I don't know about, we want to strive to beat Boston, right, LV? We brought in Cat to do that. But I need to see it with Mitch. I do. I need to see it with Mitch. Boston's a gauntlet. Like they're the top of the top, man. They're the top of the food chain. It's Boston.
Yeah.
I know what the standings say right now is Cleveland and Boston, but I still do think it's Boston. But if the Cavs keep this up like they have been, hey man, when do we play the Cavs again? I'll find that out in a second. But I think it's Boston,
you're right.
top of the food chain, then Knicks and Cleveland, and then anyone. The thing about the playoffs, LV, is that the intensity gets turned up a notch, and
it does.
It gets turned up a notch, man. And
so that's what I mean. Like that's what I mean. Like this record. I'm not taking nothing away from their record. I'm glad AP said that, and he's right. 29-4 is 29-4. You got to give him credit for that. But the playoffs is a different monster, man. That's a different monster. And what's important about the playoffs, which is ill, is this, right? What do you do when the defense just shuts your team down? What do you do? Can you get a bucket? Can you put it in the guy's hand who's getting $100 and something million, $200 something million? Can he get a bucket? Jalen Brunson has proven that, right? The other guys have it on Cleveland. They just haven't. Can you get a bucket? Because sometimes it's not about really, like the schemes that you run. It's about who's got the Jimmy and the Joes. Like that's what it's about. That's why you pay the stars the big money. And with us getting a guy like Cat, that changes everything because now you're going to see who's who, man. And that's the beauty about the playoffs because, like you said, the intensity rises. Guys' palms get sweaty because the pressure is on. The lights get brighter. All those things matter, man. All those things matter in a big moment. And what I'm excited about is that we got the guy, man. We got the guy who's done it on big stages and big moments in Brunson. And he has not folded like cheap suits. He has not. And for me, that's the excitement I have because I trust in my guy. Can they trust in theirs? 4 out of 7, can they trust in theirs? We got to see, man. That's the beauty of this. We got to see.
I truly, look, I was present at one of those Knicks Cavs game playoff series a couple of years ago. and they look like they didn't belong on the court with the Knicks. I mean, the lights were too bright for them. Literally, that's what Jared Allen said. Look, that was a couple of years ago, so maybe they've grown as a unit and whatnot. But gotta respect them now. But I truly do think in a 7-game series, you're still picking the Knicks in that series. But that's not me being an optimistic Knicks fan, and I just believe in this team. I do, and we don't play them again until February, I believe, February 21st. That's the next time we play Cleveland. The next time we play Boston is February 8th. So I think that's after the trading deadline. So that should be interesting. So, but we talked about this schedule, kind of reset the room a little bit. 8-game winning streak for the Knicks. We talked about this schedule coming up. Knicks have had a fairly easy schedule, and they've taken advantage of their opponents. But now you have Utah. You should make a 9 in a row tonight. You should. No excuses. So you go into Utah, take care of business, don't play around, and then you're 24-10, and then that's when the fun starts. OKC, Chicago, Orlando, Toronto, OKC again, Milwaukee, Detroit's playing well, at Philly. We beat Philly already, then Minnesota. Bunch of home games here, but this Knicks team, take advantage of it. Home cooking. They've shown this year that a little bit of a slip. The Hawks game at home, slip up. Detroit game was a slip up. So, but hey, we don't forget those games. We don't forget those games. We don't forget them. And then we got them coming up here again. So
yeah,
that's all I got to say with that.
Yeah, but, man, we got to get that. We got to get that get back. We have to.
Got to. All right, hit some of these comments before we wrap this up. Pretty much, hey, Knicks got a game in about 6 hours. Appreciate every single one of you for joining us again on this New Year's Day. Mike says, hell no. Listen, Cavs are playing good, and I give them credit, but let me ask you, you're going to rely on Dean Wade and George Niang off the bench to help lead your team? Cavs setting up for another heartbreak. Mike, they're playing well.
Mike Woods. Well said, Mike Woods. Everybody give thumbs up to Mike Woods in the chat for that. That's the point of it all, man. I love that you said that. That's the point. That's the playoffs. The playoffs matter about stuff like that. Do you have the guy? If you're relying on George Niang to be bench production.
I love how you said George Niang. Like that's Stephen A. Smith. George Niang? Who? Right. You relying on this guy? But nah. Look, bring it on, man. I can't wait for that matchup. The OKC game this week is gonna be fun as well. Eddie says, please, what's the name of our guest today? He's so knowledgeable and must come often. Eddie, that is LV Live. Every week he's going to be hopping on, the Knicks Nation podcast. He has a YouTube channel as well. Subscribe. He does great stuff over on the LV Live channel. They love you, LV. They love you, man.
Oh, the love goes back to everybody, man. Happy holidays to you and yours. We do this for y'all, man. That's who we do it for. Me and Ant, we do this for y'all.
Exactly. Cavs don't scare me. Mike always with the Nostradamus takes. Hey, I love it, man. I love Mike coming in here and dropping bombs. But
my man Disc Rover with the names of the teams. Disc Rover, please put in the chat who are the names that you have for the players, right? He calls Dottie Slim Fast because of the diet, right?
Slim Fast, I love that.
That's what he calls Dottie. I said, yo, what? He said because Josh Hart called him the diet, so he calls him Slim Fast.
Every one of the Knicks have a nickname, but has a nickname, but Josh Hart. Like, what is Josh Hart's nickname? Just a heart and soul,
right? A heart and soul, I guess. But right, he's definitely the prankster of the team and the clown of the team. But that's funny, man.
Shandi says, y'all sound weak. Knicks not thinking about their losing their streak. The Knicks is prepared. Stop sleeping on them with these BS high expectations. Keep the same energy. How do we sound weak? We're just laying out all the possibilities, LV. And I think that's the beauty of coming on here and, chopping it up and having a conversation. This Knicks team is one of the hottest teams in the league right now. And, they could very well make it 9 straight. And to open up this pod, we talked about how they've gotten here. Now we're kind of, bantering back and forth, talking about the league, talking about the NBA, who's in front of them, who can take them out. Just a conversation. That's all.
Right. The key to all this, man, you got to respect your opponent, man. You got to respect your opponent. That's it. You know what I mean? You don't respect your opponent, you go out there and get smoked. That's how it always goes.
Swiss Army knife. Josh Hart. Hilarious Hart. I don't know if I like those, LV. I like the Swiss Army knife though. All right, guys. Knicks got a game tonight. Got to make it 9 straight, and I think they will. And then OKC on Friday. That's when the fun starts. Appreciate LV for hopping on again. Once again, we do this every single week. LV and I will be live streaming and just chopping it up about the New York Knicks. Once again, LV has a YouTube channel. It's in the description. Happy New Year to every single one of you. Let's go Knicks tonight. Let's get a dub. Enjoy your day. I'm Anthony. I'll catch you next time. Peace.